For more on this, let's bring in American Culture Project Senior Fellow and Educational Freedom Institute Executive Director, Corey DeAngelis. Corey, thanks for joining us this afternoon. I want to begin with some comments from the Education Secretary on all this.
This is not about free speech. This is about violence to students, attacking faculty. They need to call in the police. They need to get rid of this. But other than that, I think there's some systemic issues. We keep seeing this over and over again. And why is that? We have radical professors on campus. They're not really vetting the students who are coming in as much as they should be. What money is coming in from foreign influence? And all of that, I think, is playing into this.
Corey, some students at Columbia have reportedly said they hope this is a wake-up call for the administration. Do you think it will be?
I hope it is, but you have so many leftist professors and administrators on campus that they've been so drunk on power for so long, they might not be able to reverse course. So the $400 million is welcome in pulling that amount of funding, but it should be just a start. They have about $5 billion in federal commitments and grants to Columbia University, which raises the question of why do they need this much taxpayer money to begin with? They charge students about $70,000 a year in tuition and fees to attend Columbia University. Why do they need a single penny of taxpayer resources? It also raises the question of, why should taxpayers be funding for leftist indoctrination that goes beyond this anti-Jewish sentiment on campus? Why are conservatives, why are independents forced to fund through their hard-earned taxpayer dollars leftist professors at Columbia University and other colleges for that matter?
Now, Columbia has lost a university president over this. The university says it's expelled a couple of students, that it talked to the New York Police Department, had them break up some of the encampments last year. What else could Columbia be doing here?
Yeah, well, they should not have as much of this rhetoric spewed on campus from their professors. Look, these students don't get like this out of nowhere, right? They have to increase enforcement on campus, but they also shouldn't be having this type of critical race theory type of ideology in the classroom that tells students to hate their country. I mean, this happens at the K through 12 level too. This doesn't bubble up out of nowhere. We had a nationally representative survey that came out of Education Next finding that 36% of U.S. high school students reported that often or almost daily their teachers were telling them that, quote, America is a fundamentally racist nation. And then you see problems like this happen on campus. It doesn't come out of nowhere. So I think they need to increase enforcement, but they should also Trump should put his foot on the gas. This should just be a start. It's a welcome change, and it's the right thing to do. And hopefully they listen. I just don't know if they're going to reverse course.
Here in D.C., there's discussion reporting that the Education Department, the Federal Department of Education, is going to be going away. This is what Democrats had to say about that.
It will mean students stuck with outdated technology. It will mean less access to special education for students with disabilities, and states and schools will have to pick up the cost. It will mean no enforcement of basic education standards and no data helping us know what is working and what is not working.
So, Corey, what happens if the Federal Department of Education goes away?
The Democrats have Trump derangement syndrome. They have no idea what they're talking about, or they're just gaslighting and haven't read the bill by Senator Mike Rounds out of South Dakota, a Republican, called the Returning Education to the States Act. The money doesn't go away, doesn't dissolve like it does currently. It's wasted on useless bureaucrats in D.C., 4,400 of them. The actual bill proposes to have block grants where the funding goes through the Treasury Department back to the states, depending on the amount of students that you have there. She mentioned students with special needs. All those programs would move under the Department of Health and Human Services. You think about special civil rights protections, that would move under the Department of Justice. Things like Pell Grants and student loans, that would move under the Department of Treasury as well. So the radical left and the Democrats are trying to use this as an opportunity to invoke fear-mongering, to try to win some elections, but that I don't think the American public is going to fall for the gaslighting. If you just read the bill, you'll see that this isn't as disruptive of a of a policy as they're trying to make it out to be. If anything, it allows for more funding for education because you're not wasting as much of it on paper pushers in D.C. You'd be able to spend more of that money at the state level. You'd have more local control for K-12 education. That's how it should be. The U.S. Department of Education is unconstitutional. It's the word education is not in the Constitution, and it's a violation of the 10th Amendment. So let's do what Trump says, and let's do what the American people want. They want to return education to the states. He campaigned on this issue, and guess what? Trump won the parent vote by 9 points. He's showing the American people why.
Well, a lot of this is going to be up to Congress. They're debating it, and we'll see what comes out the other end. Corey DeAngelis, thanks so much for joining us. Much appreciated.